The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel. For more information about our network and to check our additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericahealth.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Some people expect solutions to be expensive to be effective. This is not true. Everyone needs somebody who can be supportive and a guide. You'll find the answers you're looking for and the tools to both find answers and offer solutions on the Dr. Melanie Show. Now, here's your host, Dr. Melanie Barton.
Welcome to the Dr. Melanie Show on the Health and Wellness Channel of Voice America. Are you looking for a cost-effective way to get your message across or get bookings on radio shows? Francine Silverman is the person you need to talk to. Learn today how she can help you. And who do you follow as a spiritual guide? How do you know if that person is telling you what comes from the divine or not? Wahido Marata has been on a spiritual quest and has found two men who have shaped the direction of his life. They're Osho and Tony Samara. Find out what that's all about. First, we're going to hear from Fran. I am talking today to Francine Silverman, and I want you to explain to our listening audience what exactly is your job title.
Melanie, first I'd like to thank you for inviting me on your show.
You're very welcome.
It's nice to be on somebody else's show.
Yes.
Because when I do my own show, I have to do so much work, but as a guest, I don't have to do much.
It's nice.
Well, I don't have one job title because I wear many different hats. I'm an editor of book promotion newsletter, an e-zine for authors, which has come out every other Wednesday since March 2003.
Oh.
I'm an online publicist. I have more than 100 clients. And what I do is I get them on the radio.
Okay.
And I'm also a radio host. I have a show called Ship to Shore with Silverman, and I have a producer who records it, and then he syndicates it to different internet stations.
Oh.
So it's about cruises.
Okay.
And that's about, I think that's it. Did I leave anything out?
I don't know. How long have
I don't know.
How long have you been doing your radio show?
Well, I've done many different shows. I started out because the newsletter really started the ball rolling. When I had the newsletter about 2 years, I had lunch with one of my subscribers, and she said, you really should package your skills, because it's instead of just charging just for the newsletter, why don't you offer them something else and charge one fee? So I thought that's a good idea. So I started a radio show on Achieve Radio called what was it called? I forget already. Talk to Fran or something. I don't even remember what the heck it was called, but it was for authors.
Okay.
I was interviewing authors. And so what I did was the newsletter at that time, I think, was maybe $5 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And getting the $5 a year was harder than when I offered them for $60. I would give them the newsletter. I would become their publicist, and I would have them on my radio show.
Uh-huh.
And you can't imagine how many people came forth with the $60. It was easier to get the $60 than it was the $5.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's unbelievable. When you give them something more, then they come forth with the money.
That's a good point. I'll have to remember that. Okay.
So that newsletter really has spawned everything that I have done since then.
Mm-hmm.
It really was, I wrote a book called marketing from A to Z, and I used 325 of the best marketing strategies from my subscribers. I had that published. And then when I became an online publicist, and I realized that first I was pitching newspapers, and that was very difficult. But when I started pitching radio hosts, I was shocked because radio hosts constantly need guests, as you well know.
Yes.
And they were coming forward. I mean, they were just, it was unbelievable. So then I had so many different contacts on radio hosts that I decided to do a book, and I did a book, but the book was very expensive. I got a publisher, but he charged a lot of money. And anyway, what happens with radio shows, they go in and out. So I decided to do e-books. And I now have 16 e-books of talk radio shows, ranging from animals to sports.
Okay.
And what I do is I send questionnaires to radio hosts, and those who answer, I say to them, I have a client who matches your specialty, can I send the bio? And very often they say yes. And so that's how I get them on the radio.
Okay. And you've been quite successful helping me get people on the radio.
Yes, it's unbelievable. Well, radio hosts really, I mean, you even those that are on the air, have filled out the questionnaire and have said to me, yes, send me bios. I mean, not only internet hosts, but those that are on terrestrial radio also need. After all, they're paying for time, for airtime, and they need guests.
That's right.
So that's where I'm at.
So how do you get paid? Is it the people that hire you to be the publicist, or is it by selling your books, or a combination?
No, when I charge only $125 a year, and that includes the newsletter.
Okay. And
I get paid by the client for a year. What I learned also is that when I get these new clients, I pitch a lot of the people that are in my ebooks because I have all the information. The ebook has so much information. It has guest profile, and it has a theme, and it has the name of the host, the name of the show, what's the best method of contact, and so I have it right at my disposal. Just like somebody that purchases an ebook will have it at their disposal.
Right.
They will have all the information there, so they can make a decision as to whether they or their client is right for the show.
So in this ebook, it's all the people that have been your clients? Is that the way?
Well, a lot of the radio hosts have become clients.
Okay.
Because in my signature line, I have inquire about my low-cost publicity service. And that seems to catch people's eye. And they say, what is it that you do? Or maybe they don't even see that. Maybe the fact that I have asked them if I could send a bio, they realize that I'm representing clients and they want to know, what do you do for them? So I get a lot of queries about that. And that's how I get a lot of clients, from radio hosts.
Okay. And so $125 a year is very inexpensive.
Yes, it is.
And what do they get for that?
Well, they get the newsletter, and they get my representation.
Okay.
So I get them on the radio.
Okay. Okay.
And, of course, there are certain topics that are more popular on the radio. For example, business and New Age really lead the list. There are so many, especially on the online, there are so many New Age shows and on health and sports. It's pretty popular.
Yes.
What else? Well, those two are the biggies.
So how do you advertise yourself to get you publicized?
Well, I don't actually advertise.
Okay.
What happens is that a lot of the clients recommend me to other people.
Right.
And so it's word of mouth. I've gotten a lot of clients that way. I got one client who found me online. They were looking for a publicist, and she found me online.
Okay.
So I don't actually pitch myself, but the fact that I am reaching out to so many radio hosts, I think it helps because a lot of them, like I say, want representation.
Yes.
So, it's it all fits in together.
It does. And what's helpful to me is when you send me somebody, I know that you've done some kind of selection process. You're not just going to receive anybody. You're going to check them out.
It's hard to screen people, but when I get the bio, I can see, that the client is very, very comprehensive in their skills, and they have a very good bio.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that they're somebody that will be good on the radio. And very often I get testimonials from hosts about that person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I fill their bios with the testimonials.
Okay.
Some of them are top-heavy with testimonials because they love certain clients they adore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But that's good, and you can always update the feedback that you get, make it most current, or, the most well-known hosts that have interviewed them, put that up.
Yeah.
So that's
well,
good.
It's very hard to get them on, the top shows.
Mm-hmm.
Because top shows don't need me.
Yeah. Well, not right now, but in the future they might. So
maybe.
Because you've got a skill that is yours, and you do it very well. And if people would recognize that, it might save them some time and energy from trying to seek out on their own.
Yes, well, I say to people that you have a choice. I could either represent you and do the work for you for $125 a year, or you could purchase one of my e-books if you have very specific in your interest, like let's say your health, or your business or whatever. The e-book will give you all the information, all the shows that have filled out questionnaires, and those shows are looking for guests.
Okay. Well,
they wouldn't fill out the questionnaire if they weren't looking for guests.
Right. All right. Well, let's take a break right now. When we come back, we'll talk more about particulars of how to get your ebook. Okay?
Okay. Sure.
Opinions, options, answers. You're listening to Voice America Health and Wellness.
Step up to the microphone. View the finalists right now on VoiceAmericaKids.tv. America's next great star is waiting to be discovered. Step Up to the Microphone is an exclusive presentation for VoiceAmerica.tv, where you can see and hear America's next top child star. The program is hosted by Voice America's own Cassie Frazier, and new episodes will be available every week exclusively at VoiceAmericaKids.tv. You can say you saw them at the beginning of their superstar career. Tune in to VoiceAmericaKids.tv.
Do you have or know someone who has multiple sclerosis, Lyme disease, or any other chronic illness? Advanced Cell Training is a restorative, self-healing modality that I, Dr. Melanie, have had phenomenal results with, reducing physical symptoms I've had for over 20 years. This process can be done right in the comfort of your own home. Request their free DVD at AdvancedCellTraining.com. That's AdvancedCellTraining.com.
Opinions, options, answers. You're listening to Voice America Health and Wellness.
You're listening to the Dr. Melanie Show with your host, Dr. Melanie Barton. To participate in our discussion this week, please call toll-free 1-866-472-5792. That's 1-866-472-5792. Or send an email to drmelaniebarton@gmail.com. Now, back to our program.
Welcome back to the Dr. Melanie Show on the Health and Wellness channel of Voice America. Francine Silverman, publicist, talk show host, and author, is informing us how she can promote your book and or your product. Let's find out more. I'm back here with Francine Silverman, and she, by title, would be, I guess, an author, a publicist, a promoter, what other job?
And a radio host.
And a radio host, correct. So the ebook that you have created has a list of all of the biographies of authors in there. Is that correct?
Well, no, it doesn't have a biography of the host. What it has is it has the title, it has the name of the host, where it's aired,
okay,
the guest profile, the theme, the email, phone, which is optional, and the best method of contact. So it gives you everything that you need to know. And what you can't find on a radio website is the name of the theme of the shows. It's very hard, and especially the guest profile.
Okay.
Because you have no idea what the guest wants.
Okay. Okay, so your ebook, who is it for? Who is the one?
It's for anybody that wants to go on the radio.
Okay. Okay, so this is how people can get the to find the host, the radio host, to connect with them so they can maybe get on their show.
Right, and the best way is to go to my website, talkradioadvocate.com.
Okay.
And all my ebooks are featured there under ebooks, and with a description of the ebook and the price and the number of shows that I currently have in the ebook.
Okay. So give me that website again.
talkradioadvocate.com.
Okay. All right. And how many ebooks do you have?
16.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
And how many of those are current that you are aware of those radio?
Well, what happens is that a lot of people want to know how current they are, and it's very hard for me to go online and check every single show. But like I said, I pitch a lot of the shows that I am trying to get my clients on, and if it bounces or something like that, then I check it out and see if it's still viable. But it's very hard to check every single one. One way or another, I find out. Mm-hmm. Like you offered to check out some of the other shows on Voice America,
right?
Which I don't know. I can't really tell whether they're on there or they're not on there. So if I send you a list and you can tell me, that would be a tremendous help.
Right.
Of course, I hate taking shows out of the ebooks, but that's what you have to do. You have to do it.
Yeah, and some of the shows might be archived on somebody's personal website, or they might have moved to a different radio network where they're still looking for guests, but it may just not show.
I tried them all on Google, and
okay.
It's not like I found them on another station.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, if somebody wants to use your services and they contact you, how do you know that who they are and what they're offering is something that's legitimate?
Well, I haven't had a problem. When there's a problem with a client, it usually comes back to me to the host.
Okay.
The host says, this client was really a whack job.
Uh-huh.
And then I say, I had a suspicion, but it doesn't happen very often.
Sure. Good.
Most of the clients are really terrific.
Mhm. Yeah, because they want your services. Yeah.
Yeah, they're stand-up people.
Uh-huh.
And they have a wonderful, resume. Wonderful bio, and it really is impressive. And and I've used them before. I've had them on shows before, and a lot of them, like I say, are very well liked by the hosts.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. Well, by the time somebody gets to you, they've already been very self-disciplined to either create something that they're going to market or have written a book, so you know that they have done a lot of work to get to you.
Exactly. Most of them are authors. Not every single one, but most of them are authors.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, radio hosts love authors.
Yes. Yes.
They really do.
Yes. And
because they think that they think authors are, they feel that authors have researched the subject, so they feel that they're experts.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they are or not, I don't know, but somehow hosts believe that, which is good.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know if most hosts actually read the books like I do, because I want to know before I agree to have somebody on the show that the content is something that isn't going to be against what I stand for. So I review the book first. And I don't know if most hosts do that or not.
I don't know. A lot of them don't.
Okay.
Some of them do, and a lot of them don't.
Mm-hmm. So for any of our listeners that are listening and you want me to review your book, you can go through Fran, if you wish, to hire her services so she can help market you. And so you can contact her. To contact you, do you want them to go to talkradioadvocate.com to find you?
Yeah, or they can email me at franalive at optonline.net.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have them do that. And then if they want to come on my show as a guest, I require that I get a copy of the book first, either in PDF form or they can mail me a copy. But if you go through Fran and Fran recommends you, I know that you're going to be somebody that is a good guest to have on. So.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. So how do you make contact with the various radio show hosts? How do you find them?
Like I said, I send questionnaires to hosts, and the hosts that send back the questionnaires become my friends, and I say, "Can I send you a bio?" And even if they send me a questionnaire and I don't have clients that match it, I still have that person in there. And if I should get a new client, then I go to them and I say, "Oh, I have a new client." So-and-so, that they can do this, that, and the other thing, and would you like to see the bio? And that works, too. Mm-hmm.
But how do you initially find who is a host?
Oh, I could go through different websites, and I can also, sometimes what I do is I write talk radio host Gail, or talk radio host Nancy, or talk radio host Bob, and sometimes I find people like that. I also have there's a service called Radio Guest List, which gives you information about shows that are looking for guests.
I see.
And every day I get a slew of them. Mm-hmm. So I always, email them with my questionnaire. Mm-hmm. So if they're looking for guests, they would like to be in my ebook, and a lot of them do. A lot of them respond.
Yes. And to be in your ebook, is there a fee for the host?
No.
Okay.
The only fee is for people who purchase the ebook.
Okay. And what's the average length of time that somebody retains you as their publicist?
Some of them, renew year after year after year.
Okay.
And others fall by the wayside. There's really no average.
Okay.
If I get them on, like I said, certain people get on the radio a lot more than others.
Yeah. But you're a good networking person that you connect people to the right resources so that they can help each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's what I'm all about. If you want to help yourself, help somebody else. And you are very good at helping me to do what I do, and I appreciate it.
And I appreciate you,
Well,
Melanie.
Thank you. So if they want to go listen to your show, what kinds of things will they hear on your show?
This is a problem. The problem is that my show is recorded, and I depend on him to place it on Spreaker or TalkShoe or Blog Talk Radio, and I never know when the show is actually on there.
Okay.
The only thing I can do is, if somebody wants to hear the show, when after the show, that day or the next day, he sends me the audio.
Mm-hmm.
And I could very easily send the audio to anybody who wants to listen.
Okay. Well, do you have a listing of who you've had on your show? Is there some place people can go review?
Not really.
Okay. So they can contact you to find out who has been on your show and things that might interest them so that maybe they could see if that's somebody they would like to have on their show.
Yeah, I'm always looking for guests. It's not easy to get cruise people because cruise people are cruising.
Okay.
And so I try to go on the periphery, cruise enthusiasts, cruise website people.
Okay.
Anybody that's connected with cruises.
Okay.
Is good.
All right. Well, I will tell them to search you out if they want to do that, and I'll send you some links that might be of help to you of people that I know that are connected to cruises. So.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Melanie.
You're very welcome. So tell them again how they can find you.
Well, they can go to my website at talkradioadvocate.com.
Yes.
My website is on there all over the place.
Okay.
Or they can email me at franalive@opsonline.net.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Fran, and keep sending me good people, okay?
Okay, I will, Melanie, and thank you for having me on your show. It's been a delight.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
A healthy dialogue for your lifestyle. Voice America Health and Wellness.
Are you, or is someone you know, struggling with life? Do you know that your subconscious beliefs play a big role in the outcome of your hard work? We can help you to permanently change your beliefs that may not be in alignment with your goals. We care about getting you a return on your investment. We can help you reach your goals easily and quickly. Contact us at beliefmantra.com. That's beliefmantra.com.
What sets apart VoiceAmerica.tv from the other video content providers on the Internet? Choice and flexibility means that you can host your video content live or on demand on the main VoiceAmerica.tv channels through your own branded media player or your own private TV channel. We support multiple media formats, so all of your video content can be in one place. We offer a number of advertising and video packages. For more information, visit VoiceAmerica.tv. If you think you've seen online TV like this before, let us surprise you.
Your life, your health, your network. You're listening to Voice America Health and Wellness.
You're listening to the Dr. Melanie Show with your host, Dr. Melanie Barton. To participate in our discussion this week, please call toll-free 1-866-472-5792. That's 1-866-472-5792. Or send an email to drmelaniebarton@gmail.com. Now, back to our program.
Welcome back to the Dr. Melanie Show on the Health and Wellness channel of Voice America. We learned how Francine Silverman can help you get bookings on radio shows. Now, let's focus on a spiritual path. Wahido Marata has been a physical trainer, tennis coach, NLP, and spiritual workshop facilitator. He's learned many things on his journey, and he's going to share his experiences and beliefs with humility and an open heart. So let's hear what he has to say. Today I am talking with Wahido Marata, and he has written the book, Beyond the Western Mind, You Are Called to Change. So welcome to my show, Wahido.
Thank you so much, Dr. Melanie. It's a pleasure to be here and to speak to you and to your listeners.
Yes, it is. And you have some very interesting concepts in your book that I want the listeners to learn about. And the first one that I want to talk about is you say, I believe the structures created around spirituality must be shaken up and become more flexible like bamboo. What do you mean by this?
Well, when I wrote this, I was mostly thinking about the structures that are around specific religions or religious groups. And I feel that some of them can be very rigid at times, yes, and not so flexible.
Yes.
So, and what I think is we need to be real to ourselves and to what is happening in the moment, rather than be stuck into dogmas and preconceived ideas, which are limiting not only for the mind, but the way that we think, our psychology, our bodies, our minds, our emotions. So just to be flexible. And the bamboo is basically a metaphor for something which is very strong, but at the same time very flexible.
Mm-hmm. Well, I agree with you on that, because so many people leave the organized religious practices because they're so turned off that it's inflexible. So I like your idea about this.
Yes, yes.
That's good. There have been two people in your life that have really influenced your thinking and your path. One of them was Osho and the other is Tony Samara. So you first encountered Osho, his teachings, in 1998. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it was very, very interesting. I was actually it was a bit before that, because okay. I think I was like 18 or 19, mm-hmm. and I was introduced to the library of a friend of mine who was an Osho follower, mm-hmm. and he had a lot of books and also some videotapes and video cassettes at that time, mm-hmm. and somehow I got attracted to those books, and I just started reading them, and the impact was so strong that from that moment on, my whole perception of life changed. I just felt that, someone out there is writing books about something that feels so honest to me and so real, and I never had this experience before. So it was just like opening a book from your own intuition and your own knowledge, but written by someone else, from a space of consciousness where you were unconscious from those concepts and from those ideas, and then suddenly it becomes conscious. Mm-hmm. It was like an awakening for something true inside of you that you always knew about, connected about to, but were never able to express it. Mm-hmm. And in society, I never heard of such at that time, not only from anyone basically, and this person who I didn't know about was writing about it. So it was just amazing.
Mm-hmm. I wrote about him in my doctoral dissertation because it was about meditation and spirituality with alcoholics in recovery. So mm-hmm. I didn't know much about him, but I used that as one of my sources in my dissertation. Mm-hmm. So, and it was about dynamic meditation. Mm-hmm. About yes. more energetic meditation, which appeals to many people.
Exactly. I agree.
Mm-hmm. But when you got introduced to all of this, he was already not in life form at that time, correct?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So his influence continues long after his breath has left his body.
Definitely. I mean, he was such a visionary that he actually said that after my departure, many, many more people will come. And it was exactly the case. Although he had already a large following and 600 books written and so many dynamic meditations created and left to his people.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Kind of reminds me of Edgar Cayce. I don't know if you're familiar with his work, how he was the sleeping prophet. And he
yes, I've heard of him.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yes, and his work exactly. still continues to this day.
Exactly.
But the second figure that's influenced you is still living,
yes.
still much a part of your life.
Yes,
so
totally.
Tell us about Tony Samara.
Yes. It was in 2001, in June. I recall this so vividly. And I just went to one of his retreats. He was always, since then, already much fond of fasting. So he gave these fasting retreats. And I went to one of them, and he was recognizing somehow the energy that I felt with Osho, but on the flesh. And it was basically what I was looking for, although I didn't know. And, I was quite young at that time. And since then, it was a presence in my life. And then from 2006, I got invited personally by Tony to be working with him personally, directly, every day. And since then, I've been working with him every day and in his presence physically and being guided and doing what we call karma yoga, which is a specific type of work that we do with a spiritual teacher, and living in his spiritual school. So I've lived since then, and I don't even know other way of living at the moment. I've been living in this kind of structure, which is like the bamboos, it's very flexible, but it's very rigid and very strong and challenging at the same time. So, but it's very flexible, and it's not created from dogmas or from ideas. It's basically created from experience and from the knowledge that has been passed from many, many masters, and it's alive, so much alive, not only from the past masters, but from the work that Tony shares. So,
and the interesting factor about that is that your family's part of it too. Is that not correct? That you live with or near him?
Yes, exactly. Some changes happened since I wrote the book. The book, although it was published only December last year, it was written and finished about a year before that.
Okay.
So actually, at the moment, I'm not married anymore. Unfortunately, things led me to a place where that reality was not possible. But my children and my ex-wife are still close to Tony, and it's basically their lifestyle. It's has been such a wonderful work that we've been doing together, and yes, they are close by, and just things changed a little bit in the practical sense.
It evolved.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
But in a way that it was not my preferred choice, to be honest. But life is a mystery, and in the midst of the confusion and the challenges that we are faced with, takes us to where we need to be, and that leads us to challenge ourselves to look at things that we need to look at, and
That's right.
Our fears, our perceptions, our expectations, and that's what happened to me, and I had to face them, and I still face them in a different way, but it's beyond my understanding. It's beyond words. It's beyond the Western mind, if you want to call it.
Yes.
But it's reality, and I feel so blessed to have this kind of reality, because it has been teaching me things that I normally, personally, would not discover, at least so fast. And that's what Tony is about, and there's a very, very small group living with him that he invited personally to have this work. And, Tony works with so many thousands of people around the world, and even more now in America, especially because of his online courses. And it's just a blessing, it's the only word that I can use.
It's good that you've got that support network right there through this transitional time, because that can help you, and you can evolve from all of what you've already experienced into blossoming into what you're supposed to do next.
Exactly.
Yeah. As a person who got divorced after 40 years of marriage, I can say there is life that happens, and it's different, and you go on. So I'm glad that you're moving on.
Definitely. And it was 7 years that I've spent together with my ex-wife, and we have 2 beautiful children, and they are the most pure love beings that I've met in my life. And I owe them, not that I owe them, but I take them everywhere that I go, and they are me, they are part of me. And I'm sure you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, I do.
Yes.
Well, you talk about how Tony states that we've got to take good care of our bodies, and that when you do that, you're affecting all the aspects of humanity, emotions, thoughts, feelings, the energetic body. And if you're doing all this and healthy, it has a good, healthy impact on yourself and those around you. But it says you got to have your mind satisfied. And if it's not satisfied, it's going to ask for more. So what do you mean by this?
Well, sometimes it might sound like a contradiction, but from my experience, and I've been a vegetarian, and I'm not saying this is dogmatic, but I've been a vegetarian since 2000, and I think it helped me a lot. It's not something that I can even grasp or say, from this moment on, everything changed. But I can say that it helped me balance everything. Mm-hmm. And moreover, it made me more sensitive, which actually made me feel many more things which were not so pleasant, like my angry side, my dark side, my emotional, depressive side, and so on. Somehow it makes you more real. That's how I can put it. And so when you do this, your mind, also contradictory to some, makes itself more sharp, more clever, okay. And more intuitively seeking ways to be even more in control. Okay. So I think it's I'm not saying the vegetarian is the only way, but I'm saying that in order to have a balanced body, emotions, feelings, thoughts, the way that you speak, if that harmony is achieved, then I believe that you are closer to understanding what's really happening. Okay. And it's not about any dogma. It's about your own experience. And this is my experience. And it has been passed on by many masters.
Okay. Well, let's take a break at this point, and then we'll come back and talk about some more things related to your book. So thank you. So hold on, please.
Thank you.
A healthy dialogue for your lifestyle. Voice America Health and Wellness.
Like 30 million other Americans, I have interstitial cystitis, a chronic inflammatory disease that feels like a bladder infection, or prostatitis for men. Desert Harvest Concentrated Aloe Vera helps. It appears to give analgesic properties while coating the bladder. It's the only one that has a phase 1 trial. It's whole processed, whole leaf, and extremely concentrated. Go to desertharvest.com to order or call 1-800-222-3901. Tell them Dr. Melanie sent you. 1-800-222-3901.
If you have a loved one that is undergoing treatment for substance abuse or mental illness, you owe it to them and yourself to tune in to 1 Hour at a Time with host Mary Woods. This compassionate and educational talk show will help you help those that you love by better understanding their condition and their personal recovery process. Tune in every Monday at 12 noon Pacific Time to 1 Hour at a Time on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel. Recovery begins this hour.
Opinions, options, answers. You're listening to Voice America Health and Wellness.
You're listening to the Dr. Melanie Show with your host, Dr. Melanie Barton. To participate in our discussion this week, please call toll-free 1-866-472-5792. That's 1-866-472-5792. Or send an email to drmelaniebarton@gmail.com. Now, back to our program.
Welcome back to the Dr. Melanie Show on the Health and Wellness Channel of Voice America. Wahido Marata is sharing with us his spiritual journey to enlightenment. Let's follow him on his journey. I'm back here with Wahido Marata, and we're talking about his book, Beyond the Western Mind, You Are Called to Change. And I like that you're saying you're called to change, because being called to change is something that's different than, I just think I want to do something different. I like the idea that there's something divine underneath all of this, kind of having a plan.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I totally agree. And that's exactly why I also put it in that way, because we think so much, and we think that we know, and we think that we are doing the right thing, and we think that this option is better than the other one, and we continuously think about things. So to have someone else calling you and something else calling you, it brings a totally different experience in my opinion.
And yesterday I heard a sermon talking about You Are Called, and it's the church I attend, and the female minister said, how do you know when it's the voice of the divine? And she said, because the voice won't stop talking to you, and nothing else will fit or work until you do what you are called to do. And it's like, oh, I understand that.
Yes.
Yes. It does not let up on you. So I'm glad it doesn't, because when you give in to that voice and you do what you're supposed to do, there's so much peace. Things flow and fit together, but when you try to go against that flow, it's not very pleasant.
Exactly.
Yes. Well, you had quite an event that's called a Satori. Is that the correct way to say it?
Yes, Satori.
Tell us what that is and what happens.
Well, basically, I usually don't like to speak about these things. I find them so, personal.
Okay.
But, I felt called somehow to write about them in the book. Mm-hmm. And, it happened more than once. And what I feel is, and from what I understood afterwards, is that the literal thing it means is a glimpse of enlightenment. Mm-hmm. And what that means is, from my experience, that you are, you sink in such an energy, such a powerful energy that nothing else, or everything else stops existing. Mm-hmm. Like your mind, like your ego, like your body, everything stops functioning. And it's like you become this energy. You become this powerful energy that knows everything, that, thinks for you, not with the mind, teaches you everything that you need to learn. But what happened to me after these experiences is that, it's so ungraspable, and the mind is so in awe with what is happening that it's difficult to bring something to this structure, the mind structure that we have. So I find them, I feel so grateful to have had those experiences that in the end, I am still here. I still remain as a physical body, as a physical being, with a mind, with an ego, which needs to work towards that experience in a different way, but needs to work. Needs to continue working towards it. Mm-hmm. And it's not that you have one experience like this and everything changes, but your perception changes and your reference point changes, which means that now you have a reference point to the potential. You are still not the potential, but you have a reference point of what that can be. And then you continue working with everyday life, with what life brings you, and you keep reminding yourself through meditation. This is for me the only tool that I feel relevant in my daily life that brings me back to that experience.
Mm-hmm. I think it's good that you didn't ascend at that point in time, so that you could be here for the rest of us to learn from your experience and to invite others to have that experience. So I'm glad you're still here.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. But what I feel is that it's nothing that you ask for, and whenever these experiences happen, it's not that you become something or become someone. And they are so beyond what you know that when you are living with other human beings, you are still a human being. Mm-hmm. It's just a reference point. That's for me the only relevant thing that I would say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad that you can teach it to us and help us to understand what it all means. Because for the next question I have is that everybody's truth is their own, and theirs alone is what you say. So what's real for you and what works for you may not be universal for everybody. Is that the interpretation of what you mean?
Well, as you said, if you go against the stream of life, you might have a hard time. So I feel that beyond what other people think, or especially what other people think, of what societies think, of what institutionalized religions might try to put onto you, or your teachers, or anyone, there is your own truth, And that for me is the one that should be most relevant. But at the same time, there is a stream of, the stream of life. And that stream of life is what I would call the truth. And when you are aligned, when your body is aligned, when your mind is aligned, when all the emotions are centered, you might have a taste of that alignment. You might have a taste of that stream of life. But our ideas, our beliefs, our systems, our mindsets are the ones who create our own truth. And I believe that you should be truthful to that truth. But like the bamboo, you should be flexible to see that there is a stream of life that is, I would call, the ultimate truth. And that truth, once you are able to tap into, can bring you the real sense of alignment and the real truth. But then there is also, for me, the work of a spiritual teacher, because he is, from what I understood and experienced, the one that lives in that reality always. So he's always able to tell you and to guide you to that reality, to that stream of life, to that truth. Many times with metaphors, many times to not what you should do, but perhaps you should look at this or that. And this is the amazing thing with Tony Samara. He never tells you what to do. He never tells you where to go. He hints here and there the possibilities and the potential. He guides you to the potential. This is why you have spiritual names. They are the potential. And if you focus on the potential, and if you focus on your own heart, on your own truth, and if you are able to be flexible, to listen to the stream of life, which is the ultimate truth, to listen to the spiritual teacher, which can convey that spiritual truth, that ultimate truth, then you are set for a beautiful path. Although it might be difficult at times, challenging at times.
Yes, and what words Tony or Osho gives, it's not their own. It's coming through their being, but it's not their own wisdom.
Yes, totally. I totally agree. And this is why for me, you can, fall in love with the work of a Tony Samara, of a Osho, or of a Kabir, of a Buddha. It doesn't really matter, This is why there are so many different masters in so many different locations and so many different paths of those masters, because each person has their own personality, its own individuality. And the spiritual master, the several, are there to fit into your individuality, So for me, they are one, and the truth is also one. And it just needs you to find one carrier of that truth that can convey that more beautifully to you.
And what I found is that when you find that one, there will be others that give you more pieces of that whole picture. And like you said, they're all connected.
Exactly. And sometimes when I hear, for instance, Yogi Bhajan, which I have total love and respect, I hear things that make me feel, wow, this is amazing. So it's not about being dogmatic, it's about listening. Mostly listening to anything that is around you. And the more you listen, the more you pick up the subtle energies, and the more you are able to tap into those energies. Otherwise, you will not see them. It's like a Tony Samara becomes invisible to you. You won't see it.
Yes. Well, let's tell the listeners how they can access your book and how they can find out more about Tony's work.
Thank you. Basically, my book is on all Amazon websites. So you just go to Amazon and tap type Wahido Marata or You Are Called to Change or Beyond the Western Mind, and you'll find the book. Or you go to my website, which is called youarecalledtochange.com, and you'll find all information, all about the book, the people that support the book, and how to buy it, and to find more about the little work that I'm doing with Tony and the message that we're sharing. Then it's tonysamara.org. And you'll find a lot of things that he's doing, mainly the online courses that he's doing on a platform called learnitlive.com.
Okay.
And
it's time. Unfortunately, it's time for us to finish up, but I'm very grateful for all this information and for just giving them a tidbit so they'll want to go find out more. So
yes,
thank you. And we are going to have Tony come and be on the show as well. So thank you for being his forerunner to prepare us to hear what words of wisdom he has for us. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Melanie. It was a pleasure.
Yes. All right. Please hold on. All right. It's time to wrap up today. Thank you for listening. Remember, if you want to help yourself, help someone else. Until next week, goodbye for now.
Thank you so much for joining us this week for the Dr. Melanie Show. Please join your host, Dr. Melanie Barton, again next Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel. We'll see you next week for another great program.